All right, guys, we're going to do a quick overview of how to perform fire drills, just some important points to remember as you go throughout doing your 2018 fire drills. So broadly, the purpose of fire drills, there are 5 things that we want you to think about, and these will kind of guide the rest of our discussion today. The first purpose of fire drill is to educate occupants on how to react safely to a fire alarm, drill, or other emergency, any condition where they might need to evacuate from the building. Number 2 is help educate occupants on secondary exits. So we want to use fire drills as an opportunity for people to think a little bit about how would they get out of the building if the normal way they come in and out is blocked. So our students, faculty, and staff members are probably very conditioned to going in and out of our buildings in one way. And we want to use fire drills as an opportunity to make them kind of think about, well, what are the other options for leaving a building? 3 is to identify shortcomings in plans. So if there's something that facilities or security or emergency preparedness has down in a plan, something that's supposed to be done is not done, something that's supposed to be there, it's not there, fire drills are a good opportunity to identify that. So if something's broken, if there's something wrong with an alarm panel, if our evacuation signage is not adequate, if there's something wrong with our actual written plans, the fire drills are one of the opportunities throughout the year that we take to really identify those possible shortcomings. 4 is to identify buddy sites. I'll talk a little bit about buddy sites next. And then 5 is to comply with local, state, and federal law. As an educational institution, we have the distinct pleasure of falling under a wider variety of regulations and laws than your average place of business in Manhattan would. So it's important that we stay compliant with all of that to avoid any fines from the fire department and or other governmental bodies. So a buddy site, I mentioned that in a previous slide. What is a buddy site? A buddy site is basically a nearby building where occupants can seek shelter during an emergency. So think about, we've had some, especially this spring, we've had some pretty nasty snowstorms. So think about what would happen if, for whatever reason, you had to evacuate one of our campus buildings and it was essentially a blizzard outside. That could present not only discomfort, but actual physical danger to our campus community. So we want to try and identify buddy sites. So these would be buildings in or around our campuses where our occupants could potentially go in the case of an evacuation. So we want you guys to try and identify in your local community somewhere where we could set up a formalized arrangement where our evacuated staff, student, and faculty could go in case of an emergency. So this slide is mostly the job of my Department of Emergency Preparedness and facilities to coordinate. So the Mark Goodman, Mark Hernandez, and Jason who work up here in 500. But we just want to review this real quick so that we're on the same page about what needs to happen since we are really stepping up our drills this year. So any facility where classes meet, so a facility where we have students, we have class space, must hold a minimum of 3 fire drills per year. Anywhere where students live, so these would be 85th Street, 65th Street, and the residences at Lander College for Men have to hold 4 drills per year. And then the bottom set of these bullets apply to everyone. So at all of our campuses, 1 drill, at least 1, must occur between August 31st and December 1st. For most of us, that's our fall semester. In addition, if your campus has a summer session, 1 drill must occur in the first 7 days of the summer session. If your campus doesn't have a summer session, then you don't need to worry about that. At residences, 1 of the 4 drills that need to be done at the residences must occur after sunset and before sunrise, so essentially must occur at night. As you're tallying those up, the remaining drills for your campus, whichever of these bullet points apply to your campus, can be held at any point during the year. But that being said, you don't need to worry about this so much because we up here at the executive offices are going to work on trying to get these all scheduled for you. So we have the site calendars. We're trying to coordinate during the first 7 days of places that have summer sessions when that's going to happen. And we're really going to try and keep on top of you guys to make sure that we're all on the same page about what needs to happen going forward. So steps for performing a fire drill. The first step is before you even do the drill, you need to obviously do some preparation and planning. So the first step is a relatively easy one. You got to pick a date. This should be simple, but as we all know, there's always a little wrench that gets thrown in. So these dates are going to need to be coordinated with the academic deans, the site directors of your sites, to make sure that they don't conflict with special events, they don't conflict with testing. We don't want to be antagonistic towards the academic deans that we work with, so we want to try and work with them. But at the end of the day, the fire drills do need to happen during the specified time frames that we talked about in the previous slide. So we want to prepare our relevant paperwork. So you need to have the fire drill checklist from emergency preparedness, and then each of your security desks should have a fire drill log. If you don't have a fire drill log, you can contact me and we'll get one sent out to you. Once the date is set for a drill, so once we've all agreed to a date, it's put on the calendar, it's been scheduled. The drill should only be canceled if there is an extreme weather event that would pose a danger to building occupants after evacuating. So like we talked about before, if there's a blizzard outside, we're obviously not going to hold a drill and kick everyone out. Even if it's one of those midsummer monsoons we get where it's pouring rain, would probably reschedule that drill. But we should not reschedule drills just because a week before a professor decides that it would really be inconvenient to have the drill during that time, because all of any kind of academic constraints on when a drill can be held should have been coordinated with the dean ahead of time. So yeah, once we have the date set, we want to try and avoid changing dates too late in the game. So step 2, the day of the drill, when you're ready to perform it, we're going to take the fire alarm offline. This means that you need to contact the alarm monitoring company. You need to tell them to take the alarm system offline for a specified amount of time. This makes sure that the fire department isn't called when we trigger the alarm, so that they don't think it's a real fire and then they show up and we get a fine, which you want to try and avoid. And ensure when you're talking to the alarm company that you give yourself enough time to conduct the drill. Good rule of thumb is usually to just take it offline for an hour, unless for some reason you think the drill would take longer than an hour. And so you want to verify egress routes before the drill. Inspect the hallways, stairways, the methods that people would use to evacuate. Ensure that there's no boxes, nothing that would block egress. This is a good opportunity to make sure that there hasn't been something sitting in a hallway in front of an emergency exit that shouldn't be there. You can also consider incorporating simulated obstructions into your drills. So these would be basically intentionally blocking off certain routes of egress to try and get the occupants of the building to think about alternate routes. So basically putting a little sign on a doorway that says, this door is blocked by fire, find another route. And that can be a way to enhance our preparedness at our campuses. So you want to warn appropriate personnel prior to the drill. It is not a requirement that you warn anyone prior to the drill. So as the facility managers at each of our sites, it's not necessary that you warn anyone in your building that you're going to do a fire drill. It's not a requirement. Who you choose to notify of upcoming drills, we leave at your discretion. We understand the dynamics are different at different campuses. Sometimes the deans are very hands-on and will want to know. Other times they'll be more comfortable in letting you just do your job as a facilities manager. You can consider using this schedule each year. So for the first fire drill of the year, you can send out an email notifying all occupants of the date and time of the drill so they're prepared. For the second drill of the year, notify only EECs and security. And a third drill of the year, tell no one other than yourself. So you can consider doing that. So step 5, this is the easy part. You want to activate the alarm. So you can do this either at the pull station or directly at the fire alarm panel. But before you do so, make sure you're prepared to reset the pull station and or alarm panel. So make sure you're familiar with how to reset the alarm when you're done with the drill. Some of the pull stations, you need a little hex key or a tool to put them back together. So make sure that you're prepared to put everything back at the end of the drill, because you don't want to pull the pull station and then realize at the end of the drill that you need a tool that you can't find to put it back together. So now you monitor the response. So you want to see how your campus responds to drills. We know this is difficult for one person to do at our larger campuses. So you do have the option of monitoring through the security cameras at your campus, especially if you have a larger building. So you can contact Phil Van Gostein, which is the Assistant Director of Security, and he can set everything up so that you'll be able to view via the cameras. Once the building is evacuated, check with the EECs and security via radio that everyone is accounted for from the building. So step 7 is terminating the drill. So you're going to call an all clear. You're going to announce over the radio that the building is clear, reset the alarm system, call the monitoring company to turn the alarm back on, and then have everyone file back into the building. Paperwork. I know paperwork is everyone's favorite thing. We try to minimize this as much as possible, but we do need from every drill one form, preferably from you as the facilities managers. We need one form, a fire drill checklist that needs to be sent to me so that I can log it and make sure that everyone is doing the drills and that they happen at the specified times. Also put an entry in the drill log at the security desk. So it's just writing a one-line entry that a drill was done on such and such a date, and then fill in the other columns what it asks for. So that way, if you get a fire inspection, you'll have those records ready, and you won't need to contact me to email you basically your fire drill logs. So step 9, you want to do an after-action review with your EECs, faculty, facilities members, security, the dean, whoever you think would benefit from sitting down to do this. You want to discuss what went right, what went wrong, what could have been done differently in the future. So make sure you talk to people from different parts of the building to figure out how the drill went, were they prepared, did they know how to get out? And then if you notice any deficiencies in the equipment, signage, etc., something's wrong with the alarm, evacuation signs are inaccurate, your EEC lists are out of date, et cetera, note that on the checklist and then forward that to the appropriate person. So for facilities issues, it would go to Mark or Jason. For emergency preparedness issues, it would go to myself or Shoshana. For security issues, you can contact Phil directly, and we'll be more than happy to rectify that as soon as possible. So these are your main contacts for the fire drills. So other than Mark and Jason up here at 500, you have me, that's Brendan, emergency preparedness, and then there's my phone number and email, and then for security, Phil Van Gostein, and there's Phil's email if you should need to contact us. I'll attach in the description of this video, I'll put links so that you can download the fire drill checklist. I'll put text versions of these contacts so you can contact us, and I'll put a copy of these slides and some other notes for you. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. We're here as a resource for you guys. Thank you very much.